Good morning, Precalculus students. I hope that you're both having a wonderful day and that you're excited to get rolling again with the world of vectors. So for this video, and I'm thinking on Wednesday videos from here on in as far as remote learning is concerned, I want us to take time to get a little bit more familiar with our calculators and the various capabilities that they're able to do for us, all the different functions they're able to perform. More specifically, programming, writing our own programs into this calculator to make it do whatever it is we want it to do. A lot of the things in mathematics come from simple multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, you name it, things that are old hat to us. We're very comfortable with these ideas. And so these programs are a great way for us to do those very quickly without having to grind through all the work. For this video, and the next one, we'll do this in two parts, we are going to be creating a program to perform the projection function, to project one vector onto another, and to get that projection in its components. So we'll start by opening up the program menu and scrolling over to new. We want to create a brand new program. Now I am going to name this program ProjUV, abbreviated for projection of U onto V. We are limited as to the number of characters that we're allowed, and so we need to be a bit creative every now and then. I'll hit enter once to start writing the code. This means that we are underway. Now before I get going, maybe I want this calculator to tell me a bit of information. Maybe I want it to display that information for me. So in order to display things, we press second catalog, that's 0 down here, to bring up our catalog of all the different functions that our calculator can do. We are now alpha locked, and so I can simply press the D key to scroll down to the D and move to disp from there, which means display. If I put in a pair of quotation marks, again going to catalog, up 4 times, and there we are, it'll display exactly what I put in between these quotation marks. And so I'm going to type in U onto V and seal it off with some more quotation marks. And that way, when I start the program, it'll tell me that. It tells me and it reminds me that I'm projecting U onto V and not the other way around, as we would get very different answers if that were the case. Enter one more time to start a new line of code. I also maybe want to remind myself that throughout this code as we go forward, I want to have vector U, so I'll start my quotation marks again, vector U will be equal to, and for equal to I'll need to hit second, go to catalog again. If I press up, it brings me down to the bottom of the catalog where we find a lot of these different symbols. And I'll scroll all the way up to the equal sign. There it is. U will equal A, comma, B. Now, if I wanted to put 2 of the pointed parentheses on either side, maybe that would brighten things up for me a little bit more, but I'm gonna bank on the fact that I will remember I'm talking about vectors here. And so these are just the X and the Y components of the vectors. I'll then go back to catalog to seal off this display. And we'll do the same thing for V. V will equal C, comma, D. And here I made a glaring mistake. I forgot to write display. The calculator doesn't know that it's supposed to show this message just by the quotation marks. I need to include this display command for it to do so. So one way that I can go back and do that without deleting everything is to do second insert. That means insert before any of this business. So then I'll go back to my catalog, scroll down to D, press display, and we're good to go. I don't need to delete that whole line of code. I can just use the second insert to rewind things and save myself a whole lot of time there. All right, so now let's take a look at what this program will tell me. I can quit out of this. It's going to save it. It won't get rid of any information. I'm okay here. So let's go to program, scroll down to the projection of U onto V. Here we are. And if I hit enter, it simply tells me that information which I included within the quotation marks. It tells me that I'm going to find U onto V. It tells me that U will be AB and that V will be CD. This is valuable, as next I'm going to try to enter in values for A, B, C, and D. So we'll go back to our program screen, go to Edit, scroll down to that same code, the projection of U onto V. And at the bottom, now that I want to give some information to my calculators, I want to log some information in for A, B, C, and D. So I want my calculator to ask a prompt. So I'll second catalog, I'll press P and scroll down to prompt. And I want it to prompt A, B, C, and D. I will enter in all these bits of information where A and B are the X and Y components of U, C and D are the X and Y components of V. When we have those 4 pieces of information, that's all we need in order to find the projection of U onto V. We've used that formula a couple of times now, and once we have this program down, it's going to be much easier to manipulate it going forward. So now let's see how this program is behaving. Let's go back over to Programs, scroll down until you find it. The projection of U onto V. Again, it tells me these bits of information. It'll say this is U onto V. U is AB and V is CD. So for A, maybe it's 1 or 2. For B, it might be -5. So that's my first vector is 2, -5. Perhaps the other vector is 7, 8. Right now, that's all I have my function do is just store these values. But now that these values are stored, we can start to manipulate them. And that's what we'll get into a little bit further in the next video. This video got us started. It gave us a little bit of information about how to execute this program in the first place. And we're now able to input some values. And these values we can change every single time that we run the program. That's what makes programs so wonderful in the world of mathematics and in many careers that manipulate data outside of the math classroom. Anytime that you're working with data and you want to use it in various ways, writing a program is often the fastest way to execute your job as accurately, professionally, and quickly as possible. So we'll explore a little bit more about these programs as we go forward. And this next video will finish up this program of the projection of U onto V.